So first of all, congratulations on the film. It's so moving and it's a bold film for sure. Because this film is really personal to you and it's your story. So what was that experience like bringing it on screen?
It was cathartic. It was challenging, because, and it was surreal, I also, wrote it, directed it, but I also played a small part in it. And I played my father, and gave me an opportunity to actually stand in his shoes and see from his point of view who I was as a child, and that was interesting. It was painful at times, and it was healing, and I think ultimately inspiring. And it really helped me flesh out some of my own personal feelings about what happened in my past. But and then of course there's the creative and the professional, because you're doing a scene and you happen to be in the scene and it's about your life and somebody's playing you in the scene, and there are certain emotions that are evoked when you're in a house that's been recreated to resemble how I lived, and but at the same time you have to keep the helm on as director and run the production, and always that was my through line, and you don't have time to honor the emotions that you have. It's now that I've seen the completed project that I can sit down and look at it and then take that in. But it's not for the faint-hearted, wearing all those caps and also having a wonderful cast. You got Kate Beckinsale, Gugu and Butha, Damson Idris. These are actors and actresses that are top of their game, and just because I'm in the movie or wrote it, they're not going to give me a pass. They're risking their careers on a first-time director. So you really have to know, not only creatively the vision that you have for it, but you have to know how to direct them in a scene. And so that was my focus, even though I had my own personal, issues going on, that I was feeling in being in the scene.
Yeah, I heard you went back home as well to film and revisited some of the neighborhoods that you grew up in. That must have been tough.
For me, it was, but I've been home many times before. But I took the cast down there. I took Damson there because many of the things that occurred in the movie, and particularly some of the racial slurs that were thrown at me as a child, whether it was coon, nignog, wog, sambo, he'd never heard of before, and because he's a different generation. And so I had to take him down there just to see the world in which I was living. It's not, Damson lives in an area of London that has a very healthy black population. This was an area on the periphery of London where there were no blacks, and it was a right-wing kind of London white-based town, and I needed him to really seep that into his bones, that there was nowhere to run, there were no role models, and there was no backup. You were literally on your own, and I showed him some of the places we would go, and just the fabric of the town and the feel of it, so that he could inform his performance. So I think he got it, he nailed it.
He definitely did. Also, Kate, I've never seen her in a role like this before, so what kind of feedback did you give her, especially since it's the director's mother?
Well, I mean, Kate's an extraordinary actress, and I'd seen her in some of her work, whether it be Aviator, Contraband, or Love and Friendship, and all those movies I've just quoted. There are different layers that she exhibits. In the Aviator, there's this. She has a certain gravitas in Ava Gardner, who she plays, and in Contraband, there's this fierce mother protective of her daughter, and in Love and Friendship, there's this satirical humor, and it's that I wanted all of those elements in this one character. And when we met, also I wanted an actress that was a mother. Preferably so that she didn't have to act that element. She really knew what it was like to have a child and the possibility of giving it away. I wanted those emotions to feel real. I shared photographs, and Kate is a perfectionist, and she's very much a method person. She really wants to know every detail. And so we went through it, from images, from hair, from, we had body parts made for her that would accentuate curves in a different way, that were, how people were, their shape back then, and we didn't overdo it, just enough to make her feel comfortable in the world. And then her accent, she was nervous about that at first, but it was really about capturing the essence of who Ingrid was, and then she nailed it with all of those points and all of those layers. She was such a grounded performance for her, and I think it's a Kate Beckinsale we've never seen before, and she's just outstanding in it. I was just very lucky to have her.
I completely agree. And having your experience on the big screen now definitely educates people about the British history and the culture. What dialogue are you hoping to start with this film?
Well, the film, there's so many, it's so multi-layered. At its heart, it's a love story. It's about the importance of paternal and maternal love, and the consequences of the lack of that, the consequent search for it, and ultimately finding it within oneself. But it's set against this wonderful kind of socio-political backdrop of farming and racism, and so it's my hope that many people in Britain, we're very aware of the Black American experience, but nobody's really familiar with the Black British experiences, as if we don't exist. And here's a story that shares an experience of a black generation that grew up, the first black generation that were born on British soil and grew up there. And I would hope that it can inspire an honest dialogue where we reevaluate our relationship to its immigrant population. I would hope that mothers and parents are aware of the importance of maternal and paternal love and how the lack of it can impact a child, and also the importance of education, how it was a catalyst for me to turn my life around, and how that can be utilized as an opportunity for young people's self-worth and self-esteem.
Definitely, for sure. You can see that on screen. And lastly, what's next for you?
I'm in the next already. I'm shooting a series. I'm back on my day job. I'm shooting a series for ABC called The Fix, and it's produced by Marsha Clark, who was the prosecuting attorney against O.J. Simpson. So it's loosely based on her life, and I play a fictional O.J. Simpson. It's a wonderful thriller drama that will come out on ABC at the end next year, beginning of next year.
Do you plan on going back on the director's seat again?
I really hope so. There's a lot of stories that I'd love to shed light on, and I think one of the wonderful things about this film is that it's an unknown phenomenon that occurred in Britain that's not known in Britain or anywhere else, and I take pride in sharing those experiences and putting a light to experiences that people are not aware of, and I've seen a lot in my life, and I'd like to have an opportunity to share some of those.
Sure. This was a beautiful film, and thank you so much for chatting with us, and wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Meeting you. Thank
Nice
you.
to meet you.